On a hushed winter evening, Dr. James Holloway, the most respected pediatric surgeon in Manhattan, locked his sobbing infant daughter inside the hospital's fourth-floor supply closet. His manicured hands trembled as he turned the key, her desperate cries muffled by the thick wooden door. But 12-year-old Marcus, whose mother cleaned these pristine hallways after hours, pressed his ear against the cold surface when he heard what sounded like a whisper coming from inside. The boy's heart raced as he glanced down the empty corridor, knowing the doctor would return any minute. But something in the baby's fragile cries stirred a courage inside him that he never knew existed. What terrible secret was Dr. Holloway hiding that would make him abandon his own child in the darkness? If you love stories about unlikely heroes and the bonds that form in the most desperate moments, please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our heartwarming stories of justice and redemption. Marcus stands frozen in the hallway, his cleaning rag still clutched in his small hand. The whispers behind the door grow fainter, and he presses his ear closer. His mother always tells him to mind his own business in this hospital. These wealthy doctors in their world are not for them to question. "Marcus!" His mother's voice echoes from down the corridor. "We need to finish the West Wing before midnight." He reluctantly pulls away from the door, but something tugs at his conscience. This isn't the first time he's noticed Dr. Holloway's strange behavior. Last week, he saw the doctor carrying a bundle wrapped in a pink blanket late at night, looking over his shoulder with every step. Dr. James Holloway is a legend at Manhattan Memorial. His hands have saved countless children. His research has won awards, and his smile graces charity galas in the society pages. People whisper that he's raising his infant daughter alone after his wife died in childbirth. A tragic hero. But heroes don't lock babies in closets. Marcus rejoins his mother, Loretta, who's been cleaning these halls for 15 years. Her hands are cracked from disinfectant, but her uniform is always pristine. "What were you doing back there?" she asks, suspicious. "Nothing, Mama," he lies. "Just thought I heard something." She studies his face, then sighs. "We can't afford any trouble, Marcus. Remember that." As they clean, Marcus keeps thinking about the baby. Dr. Holloway's daughter was born 6 months ago. He remembers because the hospital staff had thrown a surprise party when the doctor returned to work. There had been blue and pink balloons in the lobby, expensive pastries, and champagne for the adults. "Such a shame about his wife," the nurses had whispered. "But what a good father he'll be." Marcus had never seen the baby before today. Dr. Holloway kept no photos on his desk, unlike the other doctors with their family portraits. When people asked about his daughter, he would smile tightly and change the subject. What Marcus doesn't understand is why. Why would a wealthy, respected doctor hide his own child in a supply closet? The baby had sounded so small, so helpless. When his mother isn't looking, Marcus slips a hospital key card into his pocket, one he found months ago and never returned. Tonight was just the beginning. Tomorrow he would come back and find out the truth. The next morning, Marcus watches the breakfast news with his mother in their small apartment. Dr. Holloway appears on screen, accepting an award for his groundbreaking pediatric surgery technique. The camera zooms in on his perfect smile, his tailored suit, his confident posture as he thanks his colleagues. "He saved that Thompson child last month," Loretta comments, sipping her coffee. "Tumor the size of an apple," they said. Impossible to remove, but he did it. Marcus studies the doctor's face. Does he ever bring his baby to the hospital? Loretta frowns. What a strange question. Why would he? It's a hospital, not a daycare. But other doctors bring their kids sometimes, Marcus persists. For the Christmas party and stuff. Dr. Holloway is different, very private man, probably has 3 nannies at home. She stands, rinsing her cup. "Now, hurry up, or you'll be late." For school. At school, Marcus can't concentrate. His mind keeps returning to the closet, to the whimpers he heard. During lunch, he slips away to the library computers and searches for information about Dr. Holloway. The results paint a perfect picture. Harvard Medical School, youngest chief of pediatric surgery in the hospital's history, revolutionary techniques, charity work. Then Marcus finds an article from 6 months ago announcing the birth of Lily Holloway and the tragic death of Catherine Holloway during childbirth. The photo shows Dr. Holloway looking somber but composed outside the hospital, refusing to comment. Further on, the private family matter. No pictures of baby Lily appear anywhere. That evening, while his mother prepares for their night shift, Marcus overhears her phone conversation. "Yes, I'm bringing him again. I don't have a choice. The sitter canceled last minute." She lowers her voice. "I know he's not supposed to be there, but he's a good boy. He just sits and does his homework." Marcus pretends not to listen, but his heart races with anticipation. Tonight, he'll have another chance to investigate. The hospital feels different at night. The fluorescent lights cast strange shadows, and the squeak of Marcus's sneakers echoes in the empty corridors. His mother is busy cleaning the cafeteria, giving him a precious window of opportunity. "I'll be back in 20 minutes, he promises. "Just going to the vending machine." He moves with purpose, clutching the stolen keycard. The fourth-floor supply closet is in the east wing, far from the night nurse's station. With each step, doubt creeps in. What if he's wrong? What if there's a reasonable explanation? What if he gets caught and his mother loses her job? Marcus pauses at the corner, watching an orderly wheel an empty gurney into an elevator. Once alone, he rushes to the supply closet and presses his ear against the door. Silence. His heart sinks. Maybe he imagined it all. Then he hears it, a soft coo, followed by a whimper. His hands shake as he swipes the keycard. The lock clicks, and he eases the door open, slipping inside before anyone can see him. The closet is larger than he expected, with metal shelves stacked with medical supplies. In the far corner, partially hidden behind boxes of gauze, sits a makeshift crib, actually a hospital bassinet with blankets piled inside. A small lamp casts a dim glow, revealing a tiny face with wide, curious eyes. Baby Lily. She doesn't cry when she sees him, just watches with a strange intensity that makes her seem older than her 6 months. A plastic baby bottle sits nearby, half empty. Marcus notices a chart hanging from the bassinet, medical notations in Dr. Holloway's precise handwriting. "Hey there," Marcus whispers, approaching slowly. "I'm Marcus." The baby makes a soft sound, reaching one small hand toward him. Her fingers are so tiny, so perfect. Marcus notices her hospital bracelet is still on her wrist, but it's worn and faded. He scans the closet, taking in the disturbing scene. There's a changing pad on a low shelf, a stack of diapers, some baby clothes. It's the bare minimum of care. Clinical and cold. No toys, no mobile, no colorful blankets. Nothing a beloved child should have. What kind of father keeps his baby hidden away like this? Marcus crouches beside the bassinet. "Don't worry," he says, his voice cracking with emotion. "I'm going to help you." Lily gurgles in response, her tiny fingers wrapping around his index finger with surprising strength. Something fierce and protective surges through Marcus. In that moment, he makes a decision that will change both their lives forever. He can't leave her here alone. He can't walk away and pretend he never found her. But he also can't simply take her. That would be kidnapping, and where would he even go? Marcus glances at his watch. 10 minutes have passed. His mother will be looking for him soon. "I'll come back," he promises, gently extracting his finger from Lily's grip. "Tomorrow night, I'll bring you something better than this." As he slips out of the closet, Marcus's mind races with plans. He needs to document what he's found. He needs to gather evidence. Most of all, he needs to understand why Dr. Holloway, the hospital's most celebrated doctor, is hiding his own daughter like a shameful secret. Back in the cafeteria, his mother gives him a suspicious look. That was more than 20 minutes. She says, wringing out her mop, "Sorry, Mama, I got lost." The lie tastes bitter on his tongue. She studies his face, then sighs. "You look pale. Are you feeling sick?" Marcus shakes his head. "I'm fine, just tired." That night, lying in bed, Marcus can't sleep. The image of Lily in that sterile closet haunts him. He thinks about his own father, who left when Marcus was just 4. The pain of abandonment still aches sometimes, but at least he has his mother. Lily has no one. Tomorrow, he decides. Tomorrow he'll start gathering evidence. Tomorrow he'll become Lily's guardian angel, even if no one else believes a 12-year-old janitor's son over Manhattan's most respected pediatric surgeon. Over the next week, Marcus develops a system. Each night, while his mother cleans the surgical wing, he slips away to visit Lily. He memorizes the hospital's rhythms, the night nurse's coffee break at 10:15, the security guard's rounds at 10:30, and midnight, the shift change at 11:45. He learns which corridors to avoid and which stairwells remain empty. He also learns Dr. Holloway's schedule. The doctor arrives early, around 6 a.m., and visits the closet before his first surgery. He returns at lunch and again before leaving, usually around 7 p.m. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he has evening consultations until 9 p.m. These are the nights. Marcus is most careful. Tonight is Wednesday. Marcus carries a small backpack containing treasures he's gathered for Lily, a soft toy rabbit from the hospital gift shop lost and found, a colorful rattle made from a pill bottle filled with dry, rice, and a picture book he outgrew years ago but could never bear to give away. "Going to do my homework in the staff lounge," he tells his mother, who's busy scrubbing bathroom tiles. She looks up, concern lining her tired face. "Be back in an hour, you hear? Don't bother nobody." Marcus nods, guilt twisting his stomach. He hates lying to his mother, but how could he explain the truth? The journey to the 4th floor is now familiar. He moves with quiet confidence, swiping his stolen keycard at the supply closet door. Inside, Lily is awake, lying on her back and staring at the ceiling. "Hey, Lily girl," Marcus whispers, and her face lights up with recognition. She waves her arms excitedly, making small, happy sounds that warm Marcus's heart. He sits beside the bassinet and shows her the toy rabbit. "Look what I brought you. His name is Hoppy." Lily reaches for the rabbit with eager hands. Marcus notices she's stronger now, more alert. He's been bringing her extra formula he sneaks from the pediatric floor, worried that Dr. Holloway isn't feeding her enough. "Let me check your diaper," he says, gently lifting her. He's taught himself basic baby care by watching YouTube videos on the library computers. The first diaper change was a disaster, but he's gotten better. As he changes her, Marcus talks softly. About his day at school, about the math test he aced, about the clouds that looked like dragons. Lily watches him intently, as if understanding every word. "You're getting bigger," he notes, surprised by how heavy she feels now. "That's good, but we need to get you out of here soon." The past week has revealed disturbing patterns. Dr. Holloway visits Lily only to feed her and change her, spending no more than 10 minutes each time. There's no affection in his interactions. Marcus has watched through the cracked door twice, horrified by the clinical detachment with which the doctor handles his own daughter. More troubling are the syringes Marcus found in the trash bin, empty, with labels he couldn't understand. Is Dr. Holloway medicating Lily? Why? She doesn't seem sick, just developmentally behind from lack of stimulation. Tonight, Marcus reads to her from his old picture book. Lily loves the bright illustrations, batting at the pages with her small hands. When he finishes, he sings the lullaby his mother used to sing to him, a gentle melody about stars and dreams. Lily's eyes grow heavy, and Marcus carefully places Hoppy, the rabbit, beside her. Hospital regulations probably forbid toys in cribs, but Marcus can't bear the thought of her sleeping alone without comfort. "See you tomorrow," he whispers. But as he turns to leave, the door handle jiggles. Marcus freezes, heart pounding. It's 9:30. Dr. Holloway shouldn't be here now. He scrambles to hide, squeezing behind a tall supply shelf. Just as the door opens, Dr. Holloway enters, impeccably dressed as always, his white coat pristine. He moves to the bassinet, picking up the rabbit with a look of confused anger. "What's this?" he mutters, examining the toy. "Who's been in here?" Marcus holds his breath, pressing himself against the wall, praying the doctor doesn't search the closet. After what feels like an eternity, Dr. Holloway tosses the rabbit into the trash and leaves, locking the door behind him. Only when his footsteps fade does Marcus dare to move. His hands shake as he retrieves Hoppy from the trash and places him back with Lily, who has fallen asleep. This close call shakes Marcus deeply. He needs to be more careful, but he also needs to act faster. Whatever Dr. Holloway is hiding, it can't be good for Lily. The time for merely observing is over. The next night, Marcus arrives at the closet with determination hardening his young features. The close call with Dr. Holloway has only strengthened his resolve. Tonight, he's going to search for answers. Lily greets him with her now familiar, excited wiggle, Hoppy clutched in her tiny fist. Marcus smiles despite his tension. "Hey, Lily girl, we're going to play detective tonight." He gives her a quick check, clean diaper, half-empty bottle, seemingly comfortable, before turning his attention to the makeshift nursery's contents. Dr. Holloway must keep records somewhere. A doctor this meticulous would document everything. Marcus starts with the shelf above the bassinet, carefully moving aside boxes of surgical gloves and packets of gauze. Nothing. He checks under the changing pad, behind the formula containers, even inside empty diaper boxes. Still nothing. Then he notices a laptop bag tucked beneath the lowest shelf, partially hidden by a folded blanket. His heart races as he pulls it out and unzips it. Inside is a leather-bound notebook with LH case notes embossed on the cover. Lily makes a small sound, and Marcus pauses to give her Hoppy, who has fallen just out of reach. "Just a minute, Lily. I need to see what your dad's been writing about you." The notebook opens to reveal pages of precise handwriting, medical terminology, and dated entries. Marcus struggles to understand much of it, but certain phrases jump out: genetic anomaly, atypical development, non-responsive to treatment protocol. He flips to the first page, dated 6 months ago, the day Lily was born. Subject born at 3:47 hours. Initial assessment confirms suspicion of Holloway syndrome present in maternal line. Catherine unaware of genetic testing performed during amniocentesis. Decision made to continue pregnancy despite confirmation. Catherine did not survive delivery as predicted. Subject displays characteristic markers: ocular asymmetry, reduced muscular response, projected developmental delays. Marcus's hands tremble. Holloway syndrome. Named after the doctor himself? He continues reading, horror mounting with each page. Week 6, initiated treatment protocol. Subject shows minimal improvement, increased dosage by 15%. Necessary to maintain subject in controlled environment. To prevent exposure, hospital board, unaware of continuing research. Week 12, growth falling below expected curve despite interventions. Will adjust formula composition, cannot risk external pediatric consultation. Week 18, subject developing facial features reminiscent of maternal line. Emotional response noted when shown photograph of K, uncomfortable parallel. Marcus sits back, stunned by the realization. Dr. Holloway isn't hiding Lily because he's ashamed of her condition. He's using her as a research subject. His own daughter is his experiment. A small medical file tucked into the notebook contains photos that confirm Marcus's worst fears. The first shows a newborn Lily, small and slightly blue with subtle facial differences, uneven eyes, a slightly flattened nose bridge. Subsequent photos document changes as she responds to treatment, her features gradually normalizing, but her overall development seeming to slow. The final page of notes, dated just yesterday, chills Marcus to the bone. Protocol failing, subject developing antibodies to treatment, ethical considerations now outweighed by risk of discovery. Will terminate research protocol by end of month, arrangements being made. Terminate. The clinical word sends ice through Marcus's veins. What exactly does Dr. Holloway mean by arrangements? Marcus snaps photos of several pages with his prepaid phone, the one his mother doesn't know about, purchased with months of saved lunch. Money for emergencies? This certainly qualifies. He's so absorbed in his discovery that he almost misses the sound of footsteps approaching. Hastily, he returns the notebook to its hiding place and scoops up Lily, who seems to sense his panic, and remains quiet in his arms. There's no time to reach the door. Instead, Marcus slides behind a tall storage cabinet, cradling Lily against his chest and whispering soothing words into her fine hair. Shh, Lily girl, we have to be very quiet now. The door opens, and Dr. Holloway enters with another man, someone Marcus recognizes as the hospital administrator, Mr. Whitmore. I still don't understand why you needed to show me a supply closet at this hour, James, Whitmore says, sounding irritated. The renovation plans, Dr. Holloway replies smoothly. This space would be perfect for the expanded research storage. We discussed climate-controlled, secure access away from the main traffic areas. Marcus holds his breath as the men walk around the small room, apparently oblivious to the bassinet partially hidden by supplies. Fine, fine, Whitmore says dismissively. Add it to the proposal. Now, about that grant application. Their voices fade as they exit, leaving Marcus shaking with relief. Lily whimpers softly against his chest. It's okay, he whispers, though. He knows it's not. Nothing about this situation is okay. I won't let him hurt you. I promise. The truth is now clear, and time is running out. Dr. Holloway, celebrated savior of children, is using his own daughter as a test subject for some experimental treatment, and now he's planning to terminate the protocol. Marcus can't sleep. The words from Dr. Holloway's notebook replay in his mind like a horror movie. Terminate research protocol. Arrangements being made. The clinical language can't disguise the monstrous reality beneath. His mother notices his distraction over breakfast. You coming down with something? She asks, pressing her palm to his forehead. You've been so quiet lately. I'm fine, Mama, he says, pushing scrambled eggs around his plate. Just thinking about school stuff. She studies him with the penetrating gaze that always seems to strip away his defenses. You know you can talk to me about anything, right? Anything at all? For a moment, Marcus considers telling her everything. But what if she doesn't believe him? What if she makes him stop visiting Lily? What if Dr. Holloway retaliates and she loses her job? I know, Mama, he says instead. I love you. The tender surprise in her eyes makes his heart ache. He hugs her tightly before leaving for school, carrying the weight of his secret like a stone. That evening, Marcus brings a special gift for Lily, a small music box he found at a thrift store. It plays a gentle lullaby when wound, and the inside is lined with mirrored glass that reflects light in dancing patterns. Lily's face transforms with wonder when he opens it. Her tiny hands reach for the spinning ballerina, her eyes wide with delight. You like that, huh? Marcus laughs softly. I thought you might. For nearly an hour he sits beside her bassinet, winding and rewinding the music box, watching her happiness grow with each repetition. Something shifts in him as he observes her. Fascination with this simple pleasure, a crystallization of his resolve. Lily deserves a real life, not existence as a secret experiment. He's brought a dog-eared baby development book from the library and consults it now, concerned about Lily's progress. At 6 months, she should be sitting up with support, babbling consonants, maybe even starting on solid foods. But Lily still lies mostly flat, makes few sounds, and drinks only formula. Whatever Dr. Holloway is doing to her, it's affecting her development. Let's try something, Marcus says, gently lifting her into a sitting position against his chest. She's wobbly at first, her head lolling slightly, but after a few minutes, her neck muscles engage, and she holds herself straighter. There you go, he encourages. You're so strong, Lily girl. He works with her patiently, supporting her back as she learns to balance. When she finally sits upright for several seconds on her own, they both seem equally surprised and delighted. See, you just needed someone to believe in you. Marcus records this milestone in a notebook of his own, a school composition book, where he started documenting Lily's progress and the time they spend together. Unlike Dr. Holloway's clinical notes, Marcus's entries brim with genuine care. Today, Lily held her head up for almost a minute. Her eyes followed the music box all around. She laughed when I made funny faces, a real laugh, not just baby sounds. She likes it when I read to her, especially books with animals. This humble record feels like evidence of a different sort, proof that Lily is a little person deserving of love, not a research subject to be terminated when inconvenient. As the days pass, Marcus spends every possible moment with Lily. He reads to her from library books, sings her songs, plays gentle games to strengthen her muscles. He smuggles in healthy baby food pouches, carefully introducing her to new flavors: applesauce, pureed carrots, mashed bananas. Her appetite grows along with her strength. The changes in Lily are remarkable. Her eyes, once vacant, now track movements with alert interest. She reaches for toys with purpose. She babbles back when Marcus talks to her, attempting to mimic his sounds. Most striking is her recognition when he arrives each night, the full-body wiggle of excitement, the outstretched arms, the happy gurgles that seem to say, "You came back." Tonight, as Marcus prepares to leave, Lily clutches his finger with surprising strength. He leans close, whispering in her ear, "Don't worry, I've got a plan. Dr. Holloway won't hurt you, I promise." Her big eyes hold his, solemn and trusting. Then she does something extraordinary. She says her first word, "Ma, ma, ma." Marcus freezes, tears springing to his eyes. In this sterile closet, this little girl who has never known a mother's love has found something like family in a 12-year-old boy who refuses to look away. "That's right," he whispers, his voice choked with emotion. "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." The truth is clear now. Lily isn't just someone to save. She's become his responsibility, his friend, his family, and he'll do whatever it takes to give her the life she deserves, even if it means taking on the most powerful doctor in Manhattan Memorial. Tuesday evening, Marcus slips into the supply closet, greeting Lily with their now familiar routine. Her face lights up at the sight of him, arms waving in excitement. "Hey, Lily girl," he whispers, setting down his backpack. "I brought you something." "Special tonight." From his bag, he pulls out a small stuffed elephant, soft and gray with floppy ears. He found it at the bottom of the hospital's donation bin, slightly worn but clean and perfect for tiny hands. Lily reaches for it eagerly, her coordination improving daily. She clutches the elephant against her chest, examining it with serious concentration before breaking into a gummy smile. "You like him?" "His name is Ellie," Marcus says, settling beside her bassinet. "And I've got something else, too." He produces a jar of pureed peaches, her favorite so far. As he feeds her tiny spoonfuls, Marcus marvels at how much she's changed. In just 2 weeks, her cheeks have filled out, her eyes are brighter, and she responds to her name with delighted recognition. They're halfway through the peaches when Marcus hears voices in the hallway. He freezes, spoon suspended in midair, straining to listen. "I just need to grab some supplies before the board meeting," says a familiar voice. "Dr. Holloway." "I'll walk with you," responds another man. "We can discuss the funding allocation." On the way, panic surges through Marcus. There's no time to hide properly, nowhere to go. The voices are just outside the door. In desperation, he scoops Lily into his arms, grabs his backpack, and wedges himself into the narrow space between a tall cabinet and the wall. He tucks Lily against his chest, whispering urgent pleas into her ear. "Please be quiet, Lily, please. Just for a minute. Please." As if understanding the danger, Lily remains perfectly still, her tiny body tense against his. The keycard beeps and the door swings open. Light spills into their hiding place, stopping just short of Marcus's sneakers. Dr. Holloway enters, his polished shoes clicking on the linoleum. Another pair of shoes follows, expensive loafers that stop just inside the doorway. "You keep medical supplies in a locked closet?" the second man asks, sounding puzzled. "Specialized equipment," Dr. Holloway answers smoothly. "For the new burger trial. We've had issues with inventory control." Marcus holds his breath, feeling Lily's heartbeat flutter against his own. A drop of sweat slides down his temple. If Lily makes even the smallest sound now. Dr. Holloway moves through the closet, gathering items from shelves. He pauses near the bassinet, which is partially obscured by boxes. Marcus watches through the narrow gap as the doctor adjusts a blanket, concealing evidence of Lily's presence from his visitor. "James," the other man says impatiently, "about the research allocation. Let's discuss it on the way to the meeting. Charles, I need to make a stop at my office first." The shoes retreat. The door closes. The lock clicks. Marcus exhales shakily, his legs trembling as he steps from his hiding place. Lily whimpers softly, sensing his distress. "It's okay," he soothes, bouncing her gently. "They're gone now." But as he settles her back in the bassinet, Marcus notices something alarming. In his haste to hide, he left the jar of peaches and the feeding spoon on the shelf beside Lily's bed. Evidence that someone has been here, caring for her. Even worse, Ellie the elephant sits prominently on her blanket. After Dr. Holloway's reaction to finding Hoppy the rabbit, Marcus knows this will raise immediate suspicion. He quickly hides the peaches in his backpack, but leaving with the elephant seems cruel. Lily clutches it tightly, finding comfort in its soft presence. Marcus hesitates, then tucks the toy partially under the blanket, hoping it might go unnoticed. "I'll come back tomorrow," he promises, but worry gnaws at his stomach. Dr. Holloway will certainly see the elephant. He'll know someone has been here again. Just as Marcus reaches for the door, he hears the keycard beep again. Panic sends him scrambling back to his hiding place, wedging himself into the tight space with barely a second to spare. Dr. Holloway returns alone, moving with purpose to the bassinet. He stands over Lily for a long moment, then pulls a syringe from his pocket. "Final phase adjustments," he murmurs, preparing to inject something into Lily's tiny arm. Marcus watches in horror, powerless to intervene without revealing himself. As the needle approaches Lily's skin, she shifts, and the elephant becomes visible. Dr. Holloway freezes. His hand withdraws the syringe as he picks up the stuffed toy, examining it with cold fury. "Who's been in here?" he demands, though Lily only gurgles in response. "This is unacceptable." He pulls out his phone, dials a number. "Security, this is Dr. Holloway. I need the access logs for the East Wing supply closet on 4. Immediately." "Yes, it's urgent." Marcus's heart pounds so violently he fears Dr. Holloway might hear it. "The stolen keycard will show up in those logs, leading security straight to his mother, the only cleaning staff assigned to this floor tonight." Dr. Holloway pockets the syringe and strides to the door, the elephant still clutched in his hand. "I'm coming down now. Have those logs ready." The door closes behind him with finality. Marcus slumps against the wall, terror washing over him in cold waves. He's made a catastrophic mistake, one that might cost his mother her job and Lily her life. He has to act now, tonight. There's no more time for careful planning or gathering evidence. Whatever Dr. Holloway plans to do with that syringe, Marcus can't let it happen. With shaking hands, he takes out his phone and calls the only number he can think of, his science teacher, Ms. Patterson, who once told the class she volunteered at Child Protective Services before becoming a teacher. "Ms. Patterson, it's Marcus Williams. I need help. There's a baby in danger, and I don't know what to do." "Slow down, Marcus," Ms. Patterson says, her voice crackling through the phone. "What baby? Where are you?" Marcus takes a deep breath, trying to organize his chaotic thoughts. "I'm at Manhattan Memorial Hospital. My mom cleans here at night, and I found a baby. Dr. Holloway's daughter. He's keeping her locked in a supply closet, using her for some kind of experiment." The silence that follows is deafening. When Ms. Patterson speaks again, her tone has shifted to careful concern. "Marcus, that's an extremely serious accusation. Dr. Holloway is a renowned physician." "I know how it sounds," Marcus pleads, "but I have proof, photos of his notes. He calls her a subject. He's injecting her with something. Please, you have to believe me." "Where is your mother now?" "Cleaning the cafeteria. She doesn't know anything." "About this." Another pause. "Are you safe right now?" "Yes, but I don't know for how long." Dr. Holloway just left to check security logs. He knows someone's been visiting the baby. "Listen carefully," Ms. Patterson says, her voice steady. I believe you're concerned, but I can't call authorities based solely on what you're telling me. I need you to do something very specific. Can you safely take clear photos of where the baby is being kept and any evidence of medical neglect? I already have some, but I can take more. Good. Then I want you to go find your mother immediately. Stay with her. Send me the photos and I'll make some calls. Do not confront Dr. Holloway. Do you understand? But what if he comes back to hurt Lily? Lily, is that the baby's name? Yes. That's what her hospital bracelet says. Miss Patterson's voice softens. You've done a brave thing calling me, Marcus. Now I need you to be brave a little longer and follow my instructions exactly. The best way to help Lily is to get proper authorities involved. Marcus agrees reluctantly, takes several more photos of the closet setup, the bassinet, and Lily herself, then sends them to Ms. Patterson's number. He gives Lily one last reassuring touch before slipping out of the closet. He finds his mother in the cafeteria, mopping between tables with practiced efficiency. Mama, he says, trying to keep his voice casual, can I help you finish? I'm bored. She looks up, surprised. Since when do you volunteer to mop? But yes, grab that bucket there. They work side by side for nearly an hour. Every few minutes, Marcus checks his phone, hoping for a message from Ms. Patterson. Nothing. At 11:30, his mother's supervisor appears in the doorway, his face grim. Loretta, I need to speak with you, privately. Marcus's stomach drops. This is it. They've traced the key card. Wait here, his mother tells him, following the supervisor into the hallway. Through the glass doors, Marcus watches their conversation. His mother's posture stiffens, her hand rises to her mouth. She shakes her head vehemently. When she returns, her expression is thunderous. Security says someone's been accessing a restricted area with my ID card, she says, her voice tight with anger and fear. They're reviewing camera footage now, Marcus. Do you know anything about this? The moment of truth arrives sooner than Marcus expected. Tears well in his eyes. Mama, I need to tell you something important. Before he can continue, his phone buzzes with a message from Ms. Patterson. Authorities contacted. Stay with your mother. Be ready to speak with police and child services within the hour. You're doing the right thing. Relief washes over him, followed immediately by terror. Within the hour? What if it's too late? What if Dr. Holloway returns to the closet before help arrives? Marcus, his mother's voice cuts through his thoughts. What's going on? Are you in trouble? He meets her eyes, drawing courage from the love he sees there despite her anger. There's a baby, Mama. Dr. Holloway's keeping her locked up, experimenting on her. I've been visiting her, trying to help. Disbelief crosses her face. Have you lost your mind? Dr. Holloway is... I can prove it, Marcus interrupts, showing her the photos on his phone. Her name is Lily. She's 6 months old. He keeps her in that supply closet on 4. I think he's going to hurt her tonight. His mother stares at the photos, her expression transforming from skepticism to horror. Dear God, she whispers. Is that a bassinet in a supply closet? Ms. Patterson called the authorities. They're coming, but I'm afraid they won't get here in time. Loretta Williams straightens her shoulders, a new resolve hardening her features. Show me this closet now. But your job... Some things are more important than a job, Marcus. You did right. She cups his face in her work-roughened hands. I'm proud of you. Now let's go make sure that baby is safe until help arrives. As they hurry toward the elevator, Marcus feels a burden lifting. No matter what happens next, he's no longer alone in his mission to save Lily. The elevator ride to the 4th floor feels endless. Marcus bounces on his toes, watching the numbers illuminate one by one. His mother stands beside him, her cleaning cart left behind, her face set with determination. Tell me everything, she says quietly. How long have you known about this baby? Almost 2 weeks, Marcus admits. I heard her crying that first night. I've been visiting her every evening since, bringing her food, toys, reading to her. His mother's eyes soften with a mixture of pride and concern. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was scared you wouldn't believe me, or that you'd stop me from seeing her, or that Dr. Holloway would find out and fire you. The elevator doors open, and Loretta squeezes his shoulder. We'll talk about trust later. Right now, show me where she is. They move cautiously through the quiet corridor. It's nearly midnight, and this administrative wing is deserted. Marcus leads the way to the supply closet, the familiar door now imbued with dread. He swipes the keycard, holding his breath until the lock clicks open. "She's in here," he whispers, pushing the door wide. His mother steps inside, and her sharp intake of breath echoes in the small space. The bassinet sits just where Marcus left it, but Lily is gone. "No," Marcus gasps, rushing forward. "She was here. I swear she was right here." The bassinet remains, the blankets rumpled. Hoppy the rabbit lies abandoned on the pillow. "But no Lily." "He took her," Marcus says, panic rising in his voice. "Dr. Holloway took her. We have to find them." Loretta surveys the closet with sharp eyes, taking in the makeshift nursery, the medical supplies, the evidence of a baby kept hidden from the world. Her initial doubts have vanished. "We need to call security," she begins, but Marcus interrupts. "No, Dr. Holloway probably has them looking for me right now. We need to find Lily ourselves." He pulls out his phone. "I'm calling Ms. Patterson." While the phone rings, Marcus frantically searches the closet for any clue to where Dr. Holloway might have taken Lily. The notebook is gone too, all the damning evidence of the doctor's experiments. Ms. Patterson answers on the third ring. "Marcus, are you safe?" "He took her," Marcus says, his voice breaking. "Lily's gone. Dr. Holloway must have moved her." "The police and child services are on their way," Ms. Patterson assures him. "Stay where you are. They'll want to see the location you described, but Lily could be in danger right now." "Marcus," his mother says firmly, taking the phone. "This is Loretta Williams, Marcus's mother. I've seen the closet where the baby was kept. My son is telling the truth, but we need to search the hospital now. Can you tell the authorities to hurry?" She listens for a moment, then nods. "We'll be careful. Thank you." She hands the phone back to Marcus. "They're 10 minutes out. We need to think. Where would Dr. Holloway take her?" Marcus closes his eyes, trying to remember anything from the doctor's notes that might help. His office, maybe? Or, wait, there was something in his notes about a secondary location for terminal protocol. I thought it meant... He can't finish the sentence. "What floor is his office on?" Loretta asks. "5th, northeast corner. It has his name on the door." They exit the closet, moving toward the stairwell rather than the elevator. As they climb to the 5th floor, Marcus remembers something else. His notes mentioned a private lab, somewhere he could work undisturbed. "The old research wing," Loretta says immediately. "It's being renovated. No one goes there at night. The 5th floor is darker than the 4th, with only emergency lighting illuminating the corridor." They move silently past empty offices until they reach a door marked Dr. James Holloway, Chief of Pediatric Surgery. The office is dark, but light spills from beneath an inner door. Marcus presses his ear against it and hears a familiar sound, Lily's soft whimper. "She's in there," he whispers. Loretta tries the handle, but it's locked. "We need a different approach." She pulls Marcus back to the outer office door, then takes out her phone and dials a number. "Who are you calling?" Marcus asks. "The hospital operator. Watch and learn." She clears her throat, then speaks in a perfect imitation of a harried administrator. "This is Dr. Chen from radiology. I need an urgent page for Dr. Holloway to come to the ER immediately. We have a situation with the Thompson child." She listens, then says, "Yes, it's critical. Thank you." Seconds later, a page echoes through the hospital. "Dr. Holloway to emergency, stat. Dr. Holloway to emergency, stat." They press themselves against the wall beside the inner office door. After a tense minute, the door opens and Dr. Holloway emerges, straightening his tie. He locks the door behind him, then hurries down the corridor without noticing them in the shadows. "Quick thinking, Mama," Marcus says admiringly. "I've worked here 15 years. You learn things?" She examines the locked door. "Now we need to get in there." Marcus tries his key card, but it doesn't work on this high-security lock. Frustration wells up inside him. So close, yet still unable to reach Lily. "Stand back," Loretta says suddenly, fishing in her pocket. She produces a master key, the kind used by maintenance staff for emergencies. This might work. If not, we break the door down. The key slides into the lock, and with a soft click, the door opens. They rush inside to find a small private laboratory. And there, on an examination table, lies Lily, surrounded by monitoring equipment, an IV line in her tiny arm. "Lily," Marcus cries, rushing to her side. The baby's eyes flutter open at the sound of his voice, and despite her obvious distress, she gives a weak smile of recognition. "We need to document everything before we move her," Loretta says, taking out her phone and capturing images of the lab setup, the IV bags, the monitoring equipment, the medical charts. Marcus carefully removes the monitoring leads from Lily's chest, but hesitates at the IV. "I don't want to hurt her. Leave it for now," his mother advises. "The paramedics will know how to remove it safely." As they gather evidence, a security alarm suddenly blares through the hospital. Dr. Holloway must have realized the emergency was false. "He's coming back," Marcus says, gathering Lily into his arms, IV line and all. "We need to go now." Loretta nods, quickly photographing one last chart before leading the way out of the lab. "The police should be here any minute. We'll meet them in the main lobby." But as they step into the corridor, the elevator at the far end opens, and Dr. Holloway emerges, flanked by two security guards. His face contorts with rage when he sees them. "Stop them!" he shouts. "They're trying to kidnap my daughter!" "Run!" Loretta pushes Marcus toward the opposite end of the corridor. "Take the service stairs!" Marcus clutches Lily against his chest, careful of the IV line still attached to her arm. The baby whimpers, sensing the tension, but doesn't cry, as if she too understands the need for quiet. Behind them, Dr. Holloway's voice rises in commanding authority. "That woman is a custodian here. She and her son are attempting to abduct my daughter, who has a rare medical condition." The security guards hesitate only briefly before rushing after them. Marcus darts through the door to the service stairwell, his mother right behind him. The heavy door swings shut, momentarily blocking their pursuers. "Down to the third floor," Loretta instructs as they descend the stairs. "Pediatric ward, we need to find Nurse Jenkins." "Who's Nurse Jenkins?" Marcus asks, breathing hard as they rush downward, head of pediatric nursing. "She's worked here longer than I have. If anyone will stand up to Holloway, it's her." They exit on the third floor, entering the quieter environment of the pediatric ward. Soft nightlights illuminate the corridor, and the nurse's station glows with computer screens. Behind the desk sits an older woman with silver-streaked hair pulled into a tight bun, her dark skin creased with the wisdom of decades in healthcare. "Loretta," she says, rising from her chair in surprise. "What on earth? Is that a baby?" "Marie," Loretta says urgently, "we need your help. This is Dr. Holloway's daughter. He's been keeping her hidden, experimenting on her. Security is after us right now." Nurse Jenkins's expression shifts from confusion to alert assessment as her trained eyes take in Lily's condition. The hospital bracelet faded and months old. The makeshift IV, the slight pallor to her skin. "Bring her here," she says, all business. Now. Into the examination room. They follow her into a small room equipped for pediatric exams. Marcus reluctantly places Lily on the padded table, hovering protectively beside her. "This is my son, Marcus," Loretta explains quickly. "He discovered the baby 2 weeks ago. She was being kept in a supply closet." Nurse Jenkins's eyebrows shoot up, but her hands remain steady as she checks Lily's vital signs. "Supply closet? That's impossible." Dr. Holloway talks about his daughter all the time, how she's at home with a specialized nurse. "He's lying," Marcus insists. "Her name is Lily. She's 6 months old. He's been injecting her with something. I found his research notes. He calls it Holloway syndrome. He's using her as a test subject." The nurse's practiced fingers gently examine Lily, who stares up at her with wide, trusting eyes. "This IV solution isn't standard," she murmurs, examining the bag. "And she's underweight for 6 months, though otherwise well cared for recently." She glances at Marcus. "You're doing?" He nods, a lump in his throat. "I've been visiting her every night, bringing her food, toys, reading to her." Something softens in Nurse Jenkins's stern face. "I've been in pediatrics for 30 years. I know neglect when I see it, and I know a loved child when I see one too." She carefully removes the IV from Lily's arm, applying a small bandage. "This little one has been neglected, but she's also been loved. The sound of raised voices in the corridor interrupts them. Dr. Holloway has arrived with security. They came. This way. Check every room. Nurse Jenkins moves with surprising speed, locking the examination room door. We need more time. The police are coming? Yes, Marcus says. Ms. Patterson called them, and child services. Jenkins nods, pulling out her phone. I'm calling Dr. Chen, our chief of medicine. She needs to hear this directly. As she makes the call explaining the situation in rapid professional terms, Marcus cradles Lily in his arms. The baby nestles against him, her tiny fingers curling into his shirt. It's going to be okay, he whispers, though his heart pounds with fear. I promised I'd protect you, and I will. A sharp knock on the door makes them all jump. Marie? It's James Holloway. I know you're in there. Open the door immediately. Nurse? Jenkins covers the phone with her hand. Just a moment, Dr. Holloway. I'm with a patient. That's my daughter you have in there. She has a serious medical condition and needs immediate treatment. Jenkins meets Loretta's eyes, then Marcus's. Before returning to her phone conversation, yes, Dr. Chen, that's correct. The child appears to have been subjected to unauthorized medical procedures. Dr. Holloway is currently attempting to regain custody. I recommend you contact hospital legal immediately. The pounding on the door grows more insistent. Open this. Doctor now, or I'll have security break it down. Loretta steps closer to Marcus and Lily, her body positioned protectively between them and the door. They'll have to go through me first, she says quietly. Jenkins ends her call, straightening her, scrubs with dignity. Dr. Chen is on her way with hospital counsel. The police have arrived downstairs. She turns to the door. Dr. Holloway, I've contacted Dr. Chen. She's asked that everyone remain where they are until she arrives. That woman and her son have abducted my child, Holloway shouts through the door. This is a criminal matter. Then we'll let the police sort it out, Jenkins replies calmly. They're on their way up now. A tense silence follows. Marcus can almost feel Dr. Holloway's rage seeping through the door. Lily stirs in his arms, making a soft sound of distress. It's okay, he soothes, gently bouncing her the way he's learned she likes. Nurse Jenkins is helping us now. The nurse watches them with thoughtful eyes. You've taken good care of her, she says softly to Marcus. How did you learn to do that? YouTube videos, he admits. And I borrowed books from the library. I just did what she seemed to need. Jenkins nods, a sad smile touching her lips. Sometimes that's the best medicine of all. The standoff continues for several more minutes before new voices join the commotion outside, authoritative, official voices that cut through Dr. Holloway's protests. NYPD, everyone stay where you are. James Holloway has always prided himself on control. Control over the scalpel that saves children's lives. Control over his research that pushes medical boundaries. Control over his emotions, even when his wife died bringing their daughter into the world. But now, standing in the hospital corridor with police officers blocking his path to the examination room, control is slipping through his fingers like sand. This is absurd, he says, struggling to maintain his authoritative tone. I'm the chief of pediatric surgery. That's my daughter in there, and she has a serious genetic condition requiring specialized care. The female officer regards him with professional detachment. Sir, we have reports of a child being kept in unsafe conditions. We need to investigate these allegations. Allegations made by a 12-year-old boy and a janitor, Dr. Holloway scoffs. Hardly credible witnesses. Down the corridor, the elevator doors open, and a small crowd emerges. Dr. Chen, the hospital's chief of medicine, a grave-faced man in a suit who must be hospital counsel, and Ms. Patterson, Marcus's science teacher, accompanied by a woman, carrying a Child Protective Services identification badge. Holloway feels the walls closing in. This wasn't supposed to happen. None of this was supposed to happen. Inside the examination room, Marcus holds Lily close, listening to the muffled confrontation outside. Nurse Jenkins stands by the door, providing updates in hushed tones. The police are talking to him, she reports. Dr. Chen has arrived with the hospital attorney and what looks like CPS. Loretta places a hand on Marcus's shoulder. It's going to be okay now. The truth will come out. But Marcus isn't so sure. Dr. Holloway is powerful, respected, believed. Who will take the word of a janitor's son over Manhattan's miracle surgeon? Outside, Dr. Holloway attempts to regain control of the narrative. My daughter has Cartagener syndrome with additional complications, he explains to the growing audience of hospital staff. I've been developing an experimental treatment with full IRB approval, I might add. For her safety and the integrity of the treatment protocol, I've been keeping her in a controlled environment. Dr. Chen, a formidable woman with decades of experience navigating hospital politics, narrows her eyes. In a supply closet, James? Without informing your chief of medicine? Without registering her as a patient? Those circumstances are unique, Holloway insists, his confident facade beginning to crack. After Catherine died, I needed to focus on saving Lily. Conventional treatments weren't working. The CPS worker steps forward. Dr. Holloway, we need to examine your daughter and review her medical records immediately. Of course, he agrees, too quickly. Her full chart is in my office. If you'll just allow me to retrieve it, hospital security will accompany you, Dr. Chen interrupts, nodding to a guard. As Dr. Holloway departs with the security guard, the police officer knocks gently on the examination room door. This is Officer Rivera with NYPD. Could you please open the door? Nurse Jenkins looks to Loretta, who nods. The nurse unlocks the door, revealing the tableau inside. Marcus cradling Lily, Loretta standing protectively nearby. The evidence of hasty medical intervention visible in the bandage on the baby's arm. The officer's expression softens at the sight of the child. Is this Lily Holloway? Yes, Marcus answers, his voice steadier than he feels. I found her locked in a supply closet 2 weeks ago. Dr. Holloway was experimenting on her. I have photos. The CPS worker enters the room, introducing herself as Mrs. Diaz. May I see the baby, please? Reluctantly, Marcus allows Mrs. Diaz to take Lily, who whimpers at the separation. The woman examines the child with gentle efficiency, her frown deepening. Significant undernourishment, she notes. Delayed development for 6 months. But responsive, alert, no obvious signs of acute distress. She looks at Marcus. You've been caring for her? As much as I could, he admits. I visited every night when my mom was cleaning. I brought food, toys, books. I learned how to change diapers and stuff. Mrs. Diaz nods, a hint of warmth breaking through her professional demeanor. You did well. She's bonded to you. That's clear from her response. Ms. Patterson steps forward then, placing a supportive hand on Marcus's shoulder. I received Marcus's call earlier tonight. He sent me these photos. She shows her phone to the officer and Mrs. Diaz. I've known Marcus for 2 years. He's a truthful, responsible young man. The examination room has become crowded with officials, but Dr. Chen maintains order, her authority unquestioned. We need to move this discussion to a more appropriate setting, she announces, and Lily should be properly admitted to the pediatric ward for evaluation. As they prepare to leave the room, a commotion erupts down the hall. Dr. Holloway has returned, but without his chart or composure. His tie is askew, his perfect hair disheveled, his face flushed with desperation. You don't understand, he shouts, struggling against the security guard who attempts to restrain him. Lily has the same genetic disorder that killed my wife. The standard treatments are useless. My research is the only thing that can save her. Dr. Chen approaches him with calm authority. James, you need to step back and let the proper authorities handle this now. You're all blind, he cries, his careful facade finally shattering completely. I'm trying to cure Holloway syndrome. Catherine died because I couldn't save her, but I can save Lily. The treatment is working. The physical abnormalities are resolving? A hush falls over the gathered crowd. Dr. Chen's voice cuts through the silence, sharp as a scalpel. Holloway syndrome isn't a recognized medical condition, James. Because I discovered it, he insists, wild-eyed now. It's a rare genetic disorder affecting the maternal line of my wife's family. I identified the gene mutation 3 years ago, but couldn't develop a treatment in time to save Catherine. Lily inherited it. the facial asymmetry, the neurological deficits. But my protocol is working. The changes are subtle but measurable. The hospital attorney steps forward. Dr. Holloway, I advise you to stop speaking immediately. But Holloway is beyond advice now, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. Everything I've done has been to save my daughter. Is that a crime? To use my knowledge, my skills, to save my own child? Marcus watches from the doorway. Lily now back in his arms as the brilliant surgeon disintegrates before his eyes. Despite everything, a flicker of pity stirs in his chest. Dr. Holloway truly believes he's been trying to save his daughter. The question no one has asked yet hangs in the air. At what point did saving her become experimenting on her? The pediatric conference room becomes command central as midnight passes into early morning. Marcus sits beside his mother, Lily sleeping in his arms, while around them adults engage in urgent, hushed conversations. Police officers confer with the hospital administrators. Medical staff review hastily assembled records. Child Protective Services workers make phone calls. Ms. Patterson brings Marcus a cup of hot chocolate from the vending machine. You're doing great, she tells him quietly. I'm so proud of you. He nods, too exhausted for words, his focus entirely on the sleeping baby against his chest. Lily's tiny hand clutches his shirt even in sleep, as if afraid he might disappear. Dr. Chen approaches their table, her face grave but kind. We've examined Dr. Holloway's private research documents, she says, addressing both Marcus and Loretta. It appears he was conducting unauthorized genetic research using experimental treatments on his daughter. Is she going to be okay? Marcus asks the only question that matters to him. We're bringing in specialists to evaluate her condition, Dr. Chen replies. Preliminary assessment suggests she's suffering primarily from environmental deprivation rather than any genetic disorder. The improvements you've noticed since you began visiting her, increased responsiveness, better motor control, these are consistent with a child receiving proper stimulation after neglect. Loretta places a protective arm around Marcus's shoulders. What happens to her now? Child Protective Services will take temporary custody while the investigation proceeds. She'll remain here in the pediatric ward for medical evaluation. Marcus tightens his hold on Lily. Can I still visit her? Dr. Chen exchanges a glance with Mrs. Diaz, the CPS worker who has joined them. That will be up to the family court judge, Mrs. Diaz explains gently. But given the bond you've formed, I'll certainly recommend continued contact. The conference room door opens and a police detective enters with hospital security. We need to speak with Marcus, the detective announces. We're reviewing the security footage now, but we'd like to hear his account directly. Loretta straightens. I'll be present for any questioning of my son. Of course, the detective agrees. We just need to establish a timeline. Marcus reluctantly surrenders Lily to a pediatric nurse who promises to place her in a crib right outside the conference room window where he can see her. The separation, even with visual contact maintained, feels like physical pain. The detective introduces himself as Detective Ramirez and sits across from Marcus with a notepad. Just tell me how you first discovered Lily, he says kindly. Marcus recounts the story from the beginning. The whisper he heard from the supply closet, his investigation, the stolen keycard, his nightly visits. He describes Dr. Holloway's clinical treatment of Lily, the notebook with its disturbing entries, the syringes. You showed remarkable courage, Detective Ramirez comments when Marcus finishes. Most adults wouldn't have done what you did. I just couldn't leave her there, Marcus says simply. She needed someone. Through the conference room window, he watches the pediatric nurse settle Lily in a proper hospital crib. The baby stirs, looking around with anxious eyes that can't find the one face she's come to trust. Her distress is visible, even from a distance. She's looking for me, Marcus says, rising halfway from his chair. Detective Ramirez nods to the nurse. Through the window, who wheels the crib closer so Lily can see Marcus, the baby immediately calms, her eyes locked on him through the glass. She's formed a secure attachment, Mrs. Diaz observes. That's actually quite remarkable, given the circumstances. It speaks to your consistent care, Marcus. Outside the conference room, hospital security escorts Dr. Holloway past the window. He's not in handcuffs, but his defeat is evident in every line of his body. When he spots Lily in the hospital crib, he stops, staring with an unreadable expression. For a moment, something like grief crosses his face. Not the calculating concern of a researcher for his subject, but the raw pain of a father. Then security guides him onward, and the moment passes. What will happen to Dr. Holloway? Marcus asks quietly. That depends on the investigation, Detective Ramirez explains. He's facing serious charges: child endangerment, medical malpractice, possibly unlicensed human experimentation. But there will be a thorough review of all evidence before any final decisions are made. Dawn approaches, casting gray light through the hospital windows. Marcus fights exhaustion, determined to keep Lily in his sight. His mother speaks quietly with Ms. Patterson and Mrs. Diaz, discussing immediate arrangements for the baby. She'll need to be placed in emergency foster care once she's medically cleared, Mrs. Diaz explains. We'll try to find a placement with experience in caring for infants with potential developmental delays. What about family? Loretta asks. Doesn't she have any relatives who could take her? We're investigating that now. Dr. Holloway claims his wife had no living family, but we need to verify that independently. Marcus listens to this conversation with growing anxiety. The thought of Lily disappearing into the foster care system, possibly never to be seen again, is unbearable. My mom and I could take care of her, he suggests suddenly. We already know her. She trusts us. The adults exchange glances, their expressions a mixture of sympathy and doubt. That's very kind, Marcus, Mrs. Diaz says gently. But foster care approval is a lengthy process. There are home studies, background checks, training requirements. But she needs us now, Marcus insists, his voice rising with emotion. She knows us. Look at her. Through the window, Lily has started to fuss again, reaching toward Marcus with growing distress. Let him go to her, Dr. Chen says suddenly. Just for now. It's medically indicated. She's showing clear signs of separation, anxiety. No one objects as Marcus rushes from the conference room to Lily's crib. The moment she sees him up close, her entire demeanor changes. She stops crying, reaches for him with absolute trust, and when he speaks to her softly, she responds with a gummy smile that illuminates her tired face. The adults watch this reunion through the window, their previous conversation suspended in the face of such compelling evidence. We need to keep them together, Loretta says firmly. Whatever it takes. Morning brings a flurry of activity to Manhattan Memorial's pediatric ward. News of Dr. Holloway's arrest has spread through the hospital like wildfire, igniting disbelief, gossip, and a media frenzy at the hospital entrance. Security guards block reporters from entering, but their shouted questions echo through the lobby. In the protective bubble of the pediatric ward, Marcus sits beside Lily's hospital crib, reading her favorite story for the third time. The baby shows no interest in the colorful toys provided by the child life specialist, her attention focused entirely on Marcus's voice and face. Loretta returns from a meeting with hospital administration, her expression a mixture of relief and anxiety. They're not firing me, she tells Marcus quietly. Dr. Chen said I showed exemplary ethical judgment by helping you. That's good, right? Marcus looks up from the book. Yes, but she hesitates, glancing at Lily. They're transferring her to Mount Sinai Children's Hospital this afternoon. A specialist in developmental pediatrics wants to evaluate her. Marcus's heart sinks. Can we go with her? I don't know, honey. Mrs. Diaz is trying to arrange it, but there are regulations about who can accompany a child in protective custody. Before Marcus can respond, the pediatric ward doors swing open and a tall woman in an expensive suit strides in, followed by a harried-looking hospital attorney. I'm looking for Lily Holloway, the woman announces to the nurses' station, her voice carrying across the room. I'm Vanessa Prescott, representing Dr. James Holloway. I have a court order granting him continued medical decision-making authority for his daughter. Nurse Jenkins, who has remained with Lily since the night before, steps forward. On what grounds? Dr. Holloway has been released on bail pending investigation, the lawyer explains, presenting a document. The court has temporarily maintained his parental rights while evaluating the evidence. He's appointed a medical team at New York Presbyterian to continue his daughter's care. Marcus rises from his chair, panic surging through him. "You can't take her. He was hurting her." The lawyer barely glances at him. "You're the minor who trespassed in hospital facilities and interfered with a doctor's treatment of his child. I suggest you remain silent." Loretta places a protective hand on Marcus's shoulder. "My son saved that baby's life. That will be for the courts to decide," Ms. Prescott replies coldly. "For now, I have a valid court order to transfer Lily Holloway to New York Presbyterian immediately." Nurse Jenkins reads the document carefully, then looks up with steely determination. "This order requires medical sign-off from the attending physician before transfer. Dr. Chen is Lily's current attending, and she's in surgery for another hour." The lawyer's lips thin with irritation. "Then we'll wait. But I advise everyone not to interfere further with my client's legal rights." A tense standoff ensues. The lawyer makes phone calls in the corridor while Nurse Jenkins alerts hospital. Security and administration. Marcus refuses to leave Lily's side, continuing to read to her as if nothing is happening, though his voice shakes with suppressed emotion. "They can't just give her back to him," he whispers to his mother. "Not after everything we found." "The system is complicated," Loretta says, her own worry evident. "But Mrs. Diaz won't let this happen without a fight. And neither will we." Within 30 minutes, the pediatric ward becomes crowded with opposing forces. Hospital security guards stand near Lily's crib, ostensibly to maintain order. Dr. Holloway's lawyer confers with 2 paramedics from a private medical transport service. Mrs. Diaz arrives with her own legal counsel, engaged in heated discussion about jurisdiction and emergency protective orders. Marcus watches these adults battle with words and documents, fear growing with each passing minute. None of them seem to notice Lily becoming increasingly distressed by the tension surrounding her. When Dr. Chen finally arrives, her authoritative presence temporarily quiets the arguing voices. She reviews the court order, confers briefly with the hospital attorney, then approaches Lily's crib to examine her. "This child is not medically stable for transfer," she announces after a thorough assessment. "She's showing signs of attachment disruption and transfer trauma. Moving her to another facility at this time would be detrimental to her health." "With all due respect, Dr. Chen," Ms. Prescott counters, "my client has assembled a team of experts who disagree with your assessment. They're prepared to manage any adjustment issues during transfer. Your client is currently under investigation for medical neglect and unauthorized experimentation," Dr. Chen replies evenly. "As chief of medicine at this hospital, I cannot in good conscience release this child to his care until those allegations are properly addressed." "You're violating a court order." "I'm exercising my medical judgment. Take it up with the judge if you wish, but Lily remains here until I deem her ready for transfer." The lawyer's face hardens. "You'll be hearing from the judge within the hour." This confrontation unfolds. Marcus notices Lily's monitoring equipment beginning to register changes. Elevated heart rate, decreased oxygen saturation. She's not just upset. She's physically responding to the stress around her. "She's getting worse," he says urgently, drawing Dr. Chen's attention to the monitors. The doctor immediately focuses on her patient, ordering the room cleared of everyone except essential medical personnel. "This child needs calm and stability. Right now, everyone out except the primary care team and—" She hesitates, then adds firmly, "and Marcus." He stays. No one argues with her medical authority in that moment. Even Ms. Prescott retreats to the corridor, though her expression promises further battles to come. As the room empties, Lily's vital signs gradually stabilize. Dr. Chen watches the monitors with professional assessment, but her words to Marcus are unexpectedly personal. You've created the only security she's known, she observes quietly. That kind of bond can't be dismissed with legal documents. Will they take her away? Marcus asks. His voice small. Dr. Chen's face remains carefully neutral. The legal situation is complex, but I can keep her here for at least 24 hours on medical grounds. That gives Mrs. Diaz time to file emergency motions with family court. She adjusts Lily's blanket with gentle hands. Sometimes the system works slowly, but it usually gets to the right place eventually. Our job is to make sure Lily stays safe and healthy until it does. Outside the room, the opposing factions continue their heated discussions. Through the glass walls, Marcus can see his mother speaking intensely with Mrs. Diaz, hospital security, maintaining a barrier between them and Dr. Holloway's representatives. The battle for Lily's future has only just begun, waged in courtrooms and hospital corridors by adults with competing interests and agendas. But inside this quiet room, the truth is simpler. A baby girl clings to the hand of the boy who refused to look away when everyone else did, and her trust in him is the most powerful testimony of all. The story breaks on the morning news. Renowned pediatric surgeon arrested for child endangerment. Camera crews camp outside Manhattan Memorial, thrusting microphones at anyone in scrubs or a white coat. Inside, hospital staff whisper in corners, shocked that the brilliant Dr. Holloway could have done something so unthinkable. Marcus and Loretta watch the coverage on the small TV in the pediatric ward's waiting area, their names mercifully omitted from early reports. A hospital employee and her minor son are credited with discovering the situation, anonymous heroes in a story that grows more sensational with each retelling. They're saying he was experimenting on her, Marcus says quietly, but they don't. Understand, he thought he was saving her. Loretta squeezes his hand. Understanding why someone does something wrong doesn't make it right, honey. I know. He struggles to articulate the complicated feelings swirling inside him. I hate what he did to Lily, but I think he really loves her, in his own messed up way. His mother studies him with pride and a touch of wonder. You've got an old soul, Marcus Williams, seeing all sides, even when you've been through something like this. Their conversation is interrupted by Mrs. Diaz, who joins them with a tired smile. She's been working through the night, shuttling between the hospital and family court, fighting bureaucratic battles most 12-year-olds would never comprehend. We've won the first round, she announces. The judge has granted temporary protective custody to the state for 30 days while a full investigation is conducted. Dr. Holloway's parental rights have not been terminated, but he cannot make medical decisions or remove Lily from the hospital without court approval. What about his lawyer's court order, Loretta asks, superseded by the new ruling? The judge was particularly moved by the medical evidence and Marcus's documentation of Lily's condition. She turns to Marcus with genuine respect. Your photos and notes made a compelling case. Relief washes over him, but uncertainty follows. Close behind. Where will Lily go after the hospital? Mrs. Diaz's expression softens. That's the next challenge. We're searching for appropriate foster placement. Someone with medical training, ideally, given her special needs. What about us? Marcus asks, the question that's been burning inside him for days. My mom and I could take care of her. We already know her. She trusts us. Mrs. Diaz exchanges a glance with Loretta. We've discussed this, Marcus. The process to become foster parents is lengthy and complex. But there must be exceptions, he insists, for special circumstances. There are. Emergency certifications possible, Mrs. Diaz acknowledges, but they still require home studies, background checks, training, and, she hesitates, looking apologetically at Loretta, financial stability is a factor. Single parents working night shifts face additional scrutiny. Marcus feels his mother stiffen beside him. You mean because we're poor? We can't help her? That's not what I'm saying, Mrs. Diaz clarifies quickly. But the system has certain requirements. Requirements that people like us have trouble meeting, Loretta finishes, a familiar bitterness edging her voice. Before the conversation can continue, a nurse appears to inform them that Lily is awake and asking for Marcus, not in words, but in the universal language of a baby's distressed cries that quiet only in his presence. In the pediatric room, Lily's face transforms when Marcus appears, her arms reaching toward him with complete trust. He lifts her carefully, mindful of the monitoring wires still attached to her tiny body, and settles into the rocking chair beside her crib. "Hey, Lily girl," he whispers, "I'm still here." She nestles against him, her small hand clutching his shirt in that now familiar gesture of security. Outside the glass walls of her room, medical staff pause in their duties to observe this unlikely bond, a black janitor's son and the daughter of a wealthy white surgeon, connected by something stronger than blood or circumstance. The media frenzy continues throughout the day. Dr. Holloway's lawyer holds a press conference on the hospital steps, painting her client as a grieving widower, desperate to save his daughter from the same genetic condition that claimed his wife. Dr. Holloway's unorthodox methods must be understood in the context of a father's love, she tells the cameras. He was developing treatments that could help countless children with similar conditions. The hospital issues a more measured statement, distancing itself from Dr. Holloway's actions while emphasizing patient safety and proper protocols. An internal investigation has been launched. Ethics committees are reviewing all of Dr. Holloway's research. The words regrettable and unprecedented feature prominently. For Marcus, these public relations battles seem disconnected from the simple truth he holds in his arms. Lily doesn't care about genetic conditions or experimental protocols or institutional damage control. She cares about being held, being fed, being spoken to with love. As evening approaches, Loretta must leave for her shift. The hospital has assigned her to a different floor, away from the curious stares and whispered questions of staff who know her connection to the scandal. "Will you be okay here?" she asks Marcus, who hasn't left Lily's side all day. "Dr. Chen said I could stay overnight," he replies. "There's a cot next to her crib." Loretta kisses his forehead, then gently touches Lily's cheek. "You're a good boy." "Marcus, whatever happens next, I want you to know I'm proud of what you did. Standing up for someone who couldn't stand up for herself, that's real courage." After she leaves, the pediatric ward grows quieter. Visiting hours end, lights dim, and the night shift begins their careful monitoring of small patients. Nurse Jenkins stops by Lily's room, checking her vital signs and smiling at the sight of Marcus reading a dog-eared picture book aloud. "You should get some rest," she advises. "She'll sleep better if you do." But Marcus is reluctant to close his eyes, afraid that if he sleeps, something will change. Decisions will be made, papers will be signed, and Lily will disappear from his life as suddenly as she entered it. "What's going to happen to her?" he asks Nurse Jenkins, voicing the fear that haunts him. The nurse adjusts Lily's blanket with practiced hands. "I don't know," she answers honestly. "But I do know that you've changed her life, Marcus. Whatever happens next, she'll carry that with her." It's small comfort as he finally stretches out on the narrow cot, Lily's crib within arm's reach. Just before sleep claims him, her small fingers wrap around his through the crib slats, holding on even in dreams. Days blend into weeks as Lily's case winds its way through family court and hospital bureaucracy. Marcus establishes a new routine: school during the day, hospital visits every afternoon and evening. His homework is completed at Lily's bedside, his weekends spent entirely in her company. The pediatric staff have grown accustomed to his presence, some even saving snacks from the break room for the dedicated young boy who arrives each day with a backpack full of books and toys for his baby. Nurse Jenkins ensures he's updated on Lily's medical progress, explaining the tests and evaluations in terms he can understand. "Her development is improving remarkably," she tells him one afternoon as they watch Lily attempting to stack plastic rings on a cone. Her muscle tone, coordination, verbal response, all showing significant gains. "Is she sick, though?" Marcus asks, the question that's troubled him since reading Dr. Holloway's notes. Does she really have that syndrome he talked about? Nurse Jenkins chooses her words carefully. The specialists haven't found evidence of any genetic disorder. Dr. Chen believes her developmental delays were primarily caused by environmental factors, lack of stimulation, social isolation, possibly effects of the experimental treatments. Dr. Holloway was administering. Relief washes over Marcus. So she's going to be okay? Normal? Every child develops at their own pace, Jenkins says diplomatically. But yes, with proper care and support, there's every reason to believe Lily will thrive. As if to confirm this assessment, Lily successfully places a ring on the stack and looks up at Marcus with a triumphant smile, clearly expecting his praise. "You did it, Lily girl," he exclaims, rewarding her with gentle applause. "You're so smart." She babbles happily in response, a growing vocabulary of sounds that sometimes almost form words. Marcus is convinced she's trying to say his name. The ma sound features prominently in her daily chatter. Today marks a significant milestone. Lily's medical team has declared her ready for discharge. Her physical health is stable, her developmental trajectory showing consistent improvement. The only remaining question is where she'll go next. Mrs. Diaz arrives in the early afternoon, her expression both pleased and cautious as she pulls a chair up beside Marcus. "We've located Catherine Holloway's sister," she reveals. "She lives in Seattle. Had no idea Lily existed." Apparently, Dr. Holloway cut off contact with his wife's family after her death. Marcus's heart sinks. Will she take Lily? She's flying in tomorrow to meet her. If the initial visit goes well, we'll begin the process of kinship placement. Mrs. Diaz watches him carefully. "This is good news, Marcus. Family placement is always our first choice." He nods, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. Of course, Lily should be with family. Of course, that's best for her. The fact that his own heart is breaking shouldn't matter. Would I still be able to see her sometimes? Mrs. Diaz's expression softens with sympathy. That would be up to her aunt, but I'll make sure she understands how important you've been in Lily's life. The rest of the afternoon passes in a blur of conflicting emotions. Marcus reads Lily's favorite stories, plays her favorite games, takes dozens of photos on his phone to preserve memories he fears will soon be all he has left. When Loretta arrives, after her shift, she finds him sitting silent beside Lily's crib, watching the baby sleep with an expression of such profound loss that it stops her in the doorway. "Oh, honey," she says, gathering him into a tight hug. "Mrs. Diaz told me about Lily's aunt." "I should be happy," Marcus mumbles against her shoulder. "She'll have a real family." "You are a real family," Loretta says fiercely. "Blood isn't the only thing that makes family, Marcus. Love makes family too." He pulls away, wiping his eyes with embarrassment. "I sound like a baby. It's not like she's mine or anything." "No," his mother agrees softly. "But you saved her life? That creates a bond nothing can break." She sits beside him, both of them watching Lily's peaceful sleep for several minutes before Loretta speaks again, her voice hesitant. "There's something else we need to discuss. Dr. Chen called me into her office today. The hospital board wants to recognize what you did publicly." Marcus looks up in surprise. "What does that mean?" "There's going to be a press conference tomorrow. They want to honor your extraordinary courage and compassion with some kind of award. There's even talk of a scholarship fund." "I don't want any of that," Marcus protests. "I didn't do it for awards." "I know, baby. But this story has gotten bigger than us now. The media won't stop digging until they identify the heroic hospital worker and her son from the initial reports." Loretta sighs heavily. "Dr. Chen thinks it's better if we control the narrative ourselves, on our terms." The thought of cameras and microphones and strangers asking questions makes Marcus's stomach churn. But before he can formulate a response, Lily wakes with a soft whimper that quickly transforms into delight when she spots him nearby. "Ma, ma, ma!" she exclaims, reaching for him with absolute trust. He lifts her from the crib, breathing in the baby powder scent of her, memorizing the weight of her in his arms. "Hey, Lily girl, did you have a good nap?" She pats his face with tiny hands, completely content now that her favorite person has appeared. The simplicity of her happiness momentarily overshadows the complications of the adult world swirling around them. Later that evening, as visiting hours end and Marcus prepares to leave for the first time in days, Nurse Jenkins appears with an unexpected visitor, Dr. Chen herself, still in surgical scrubs from a late procedure. "I've been reviewing Lily's case with her medical team," she informs them without preamble. "Her discharge is scheduled for tomorrow, after her aunt's initial visit. But I have concerns about transitioning her too abruptly from the primary attachment figure in her life." She fixes Marcus with a penetrating look. "That's you, young man. Developmental psychology tells us that sudden separation from a secure attachment can cause emotional trauma, particularly in infants who have already experienced neglect." A flicker of hope ignites in Marcus's chest. "What does that mean?" "It means," Dr. Chen continues, "that I'm recommending a gradual transition period rather than an immediate placement. If Lily's aunt agrees, of course." Loretta steps forward. "What kind of transition period?" "Initially, supervised visits here at the hospital with both Marcus and the aunt present. Then, perhaps day visits to your home, with overnight stays introduced gradually over several weeks." Dr. Chen's professional demeanor softened slightly. "It's medically indicated, given Lily's history, and it would give everyone time to adjust." For the first time since hearing about Lily's aunt, Marcus allows himself to imagine a different outcome. Not a clean break, but a gentle transition. Not losing Lily entirely, but remaining part of her life in some capacity. It's a small hope, fragile, as a soap bubble, but he clings to it as he says his temporary goodnight to Lily, promising to return in the morning. "I'll see you tomorrow, Lily girl," he whispers, his voice breaking slightly. "Your aunt is coming to meet you. She's your family, your real family, but I'll still be here too. I promised I wouldn't leave you, remember? And I keep my promises." Lily babbles back at him, her small face serious, as if understanding the importance of his words. Then she surprises everyone in the room by clearly saying, "Marcos." It's her first real word, his name, and it hangs in the air like a declaration, a reminder that some bonds transcend circumstance. The family court building stands imposing against the Manhattan skyline, its stone facade weathered by decades of human drama. Marcus straightens his borrowed tie as he follows his mother through the security checkpoint, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Remember what the lawyer said?" Loretta murmurs, guiding him toward the elevators. "Just tell the truth. That's all you need to do." 3 weeks have passed since Lily's aunt, Eleanor Hayes, arrived from Seattle. The initial meeting went better than Marcus had feared. Eleanor proved to be a kind-faced woman in her 40s, with Catherine Holloway's same wide-set eyes and gentle manner. She'd wept upon seeing Lily, touching her niece's face with trembling fingers. "She looks just like Katie," she'd whispered, and the raw grief in her voice had moved even Marcus to sympathy. The transition plan Dr. Chen recommended has been proceeding cautiously. Eleanor visits Lily daily at the hospital, sometimes with Marcus present, sometimes alone. Lily has begun to respond to her aunt with increasing comfort, though she still looks for Marcus whenever he's absent, still reaches for him with preferential enthusiasm when he appears. Today's hearing will determine Lily's permanent placement, and by extension, what role, if any, Marcus will continue to play in her life. The courtroom is smaller than he expected, more office-like than the dramatic chambers on television. A handful of adults in suits confer in hushed tones near the front. Mrs. Diaz from Child Protective Services, the state's attorney, Eleanor's lawyer, and, most unsettling, Dr. Holloway's defense team. Dr. Holloway himself sits alone at one table, impeccably dressed but diminished somehow. The confident surgeon has been replaced by a hollow-eyed man awaiting judgment. When he notices Marcus, something flickers across his face. Recognition, perhaps, or resignation. Ms. Patterson arrives to support Marcus, squeezing his shoulder encouragingly as she takes a seat in the row behind him. "You've got this," she whispers, Just speak from your heart." The judge enters and the formal proceedings begin. Legal terms wash over Marcus in confusing waves: temporary guardianship, kinship placement, parental rights, best interests of the minor child. He focuses instead on the framed photographs on the judge's desk. Children, presumably her own, smiling from school portraits and vacation snapshots. A mother, then, someone who understands family bonds. Eleanor Hayes testifies first, describing her close relationship with her sister Catherine, their childhood in Seattle, their plans to raise their children as cousins before Catherine's marriage. To James Holloway created an unexpected distance. He isolated her, Eleanor explains, her voice steady, despite her obvious emotion. After they moved to New York, the calls became less frequent. When she got pregnant, I was thrilled, but James seemed controlled about it. Katie said he was just concerned because of her family history of difficult pregnancies. She describes her shock upon learning of Catherine's death, followed by Dr. Holloway's refusal to allow her to attend the funeral. He said it would be a small private service. When I tried to contact him afterward to ask about the baby, my calls went unanswered. Eventually, I assumed, her voice breaks, I assumed the baby hadn't survived either. The judge listens attentively, occasionally making notes. When Eleanor finishes, she asks practical questions about the woman's home in Seattle, her job as an elementary school librarian, her experience with children, her plans for raising Lily. I've taken family leave for the next 3 months, Eleanor explains. My home has been approved by Washington State's Child Services. I've already connected with developmental specialists in Seattle to continue Lily's therapy. Next comes Dr. Holloway's testimony, a clinical account of identifying what he calls Holloway syndrome in his wife's family line, his efforts to develop treatments, his decision to create a controlled environment for Lily's care. I acknowledge that my methods were unorthodox, he concedes, his doctor's detachment slipping occasionally to reveal raw pain beneath. But everything I did was to save my daughter from the same fate that took her mother. By locking her in a supply closet, the judge asks, her tone sharp. By limiting environmental variables that could interfere with the treatment protocol, Dr. Holloway corrects, then falters under the judge's unwavering stare. I made mistakes. The pressure of losing Catherine, the fear of losing Lily too, I lost perspective. When Marcus's turn comes, his legs feel like jelly as he approaches the witness chair. The court-appointed child advocate, a gentle-voiced woman in her 50s, guides him through his testimony, how he discovered Lily, his nightly visits, the progressive improvements he observed in her development, his decision to seek help when he feared Dr. Holloway might harm her. And how would you describe your relationship with Lily now? The advocate asks. Marcus swallows hard. She knows me. She trusts me. I promised I'd keep her safe, and I want to keep that promise, even if that means allowing her to live with her aunt in Seattle. The courtroom seems to hold its breath. Marcus looks at Eleanor, who watches him with an expression of compassionate understanding. He thinks of Lily, who deserves a real home, a real family, all the advantages Eleanor can provide. I want what's best for Lily, he says finally. If that's living with her aunt, then yes. But I hope, his voice cracks, I hope I can still be part of her life somehow, even if it's just letters or phone calls or visits sometimes. The judge asks him directly, Marcus, in your observation, did Dr. Holloway ever show affection toward Lily? Did he speak to her, comfort her when she cried, play with her? Marcus considers the question carefully. No, Your Honor. He treated her more like a patient than a daughter. I never saw him hug her or talk to her like a dad would. A soft sound comes from Dr. Holloway's direction, something between a sigh and a moan. When Marcus glances over, the doctor's head is bowed, his shoulders slumped in defeat. The testimony continues throughout the morning. Medical experts, child development specialists, the hospital ethics committee. By the time the judge calls a recess for deliberation, Marcus is exhausted, drained by the clinical dissection of a relationship that feels too personal, too sacred for this sterile setting. In the courthouse hallway, Eleanor approaches him tentatively. "You've been remarkable with her," she says. "Lily is lucky to have had you looking out for her." Marcus nods, unable to form words around the lump in his throat. "I want you to know," Eleanor continues, "whatever the judge decides, you'll always be welcome in Lily's life. She needs to know the story of the brave boy who saved her. That's her history, too." Before Marcus can respond, they're called back into the courtroom for the judge's ruling. The judge's decision comes with both compassion and clarity. Lily will be placed in her Aunt Eleanor's permanent custody, with Dr. Holloway granted supervised visitation rights, only after completing extensive therapy and parenting classes. Most importantly for Marcus, the transition plan will continue as Dr. Chen recommended. Gradual separation over several weeks, followed by regular video calls and visits to maintain the bond that has become so crucial to Lily's sense of security. The court recognizes the extraordinary circumstances of this case, the judge explains, her gaze moving between the parties, and the extraordinary people who have become Lily's extended family through no conventional means. Mr. Holloway's actions, while misguided, came from a place of desperate love. Ms. Hayes offers the stability of true kinship, and young Mr. Williams has demonstrated a selfless devotion rarely seen in someone of any age. She leans forward, addressing Marcus directly. "Your commitment to this child's welfare shows character beyond your years. This court believes maintaining your connection with Lily serves her best interests as she grows." Relief washes over Marcus like a physical wave. He won't lose Lily entirely. The promise he made to her in that supply closet can still be kept, even as their paths diverge. Outside the courtroom, reporters cluster on the courthouse steps, alerted to the high-profile case involving Manhattan Memorial's celebrated surgeon. Marcus and his mother slip out a side entrance, guided by Mrs. Diaz, who has become their steadfast advocate through this process. "The hospital board wants to meet with you tomorrow," she informs them as they reach the street. They're prepared to make an announcement about a scholarship fund in Lily's name for disadvantaged students interested in healthcare careers. Loretta looks skeptical. "Sounds like they're trying to generate some positive PR from this mess." "Maybe," Mrs. Diaz acknowledges, "but the fund will be substantial, and Marcus would be the first recipient." The implications sink in slowly. "You mean for college?" Marcus asks. "Full ride," Mrs. Diaz confirms, "to any school you qualify for." Loretta's breath catches. That would change everything." "It's the least they can do," Mrs. Diaz says firmly. "The hospital failed." "That child, you didn't." The next weeks unfold according to the transition plan. Eleanor rents a short-term apartment in New York, bringing Lily there for increasingly extended visits. Marcus joins them initially, then gradually steps back, watching with bittersweet pride as Lily forms a deepening bond with her aunt. The media attention thankfully fades quickly, the story of Dr. Holloway's downfall replaced by newer scandals. The heroic janitor's son, forgotten once the hospital's press conference, generates its intended headlines. Marcus prefers this anonymity, uncomfortable with being labeled a hero for simply doing what any decent person should. At school, however, his status has shifted subtly. Teachers look at him differently, with respect, with curiosity. Classmates, who once ignored him, now approach with questions about the news stories they've seen. Marcus answers minimally, protective of Lily's privacy and his own. Ms. Patterson remains his strongest advocate, encouraging him to channel his experience into his schoolwork. "You've discovered something about yourself through this," she tells him. "A capacity for empathy, for standing up when it matters. That's valuable, Marcus. Don't lose sight of it." Under her guidance, he writes an essay about his experiences for a citywide competition, not the sensationalized version from the news, but the quieter truth of finding courage in unlikely places. The piece wins first place, earning him recognition from the mayor and strengthening his college application portfolio. At home, The changes are more practical. The hospital board, eager to demonstrate goodwill, offers Loretta a promotion to Environmental Services Supervisor day shift with benefits and a substantial raise. They move from their cramped apartment to a 2-bedroom unit in a better neighborhood, closer to Marcus's school. It's blood money, Loretta says bluntly one evening as they unpack dishes in their new kitchen. They're paying us to keep quiet about how long Dr. Holloway got away with what he did. Maybe, Marcus agrees. But does that mean we shouldn't take it after everything? His mother considers this, then shakes her head. No, we take it and we use it. You for college, me to make a better life for us. But we never forget what it cost to get here, what it almost cost Lily. Speaking of, Lily has become easier as the reality of her impending departure settles over them. Eleanor has extended her stay in New York for 2 months, allowing the transition to proceed at Lily's pace rather than adults' convenience. She brings Lily to visit the Williams' new apartment regularly, encouraging the baby to explore this space that bridges her past and future. On a warm Saturday afternoon, they gather in a small park near the apartment. Marcus, his mother, Eleanor, and Lily, now nearly 8 months old and beginning to pull herself up on furniture, eager to stand, though not yet ready to walk. The adults watch as Marcus helps her practice, holding her tiny hands as she wobbles on unsteady legs. She's getting so strong, Eleanor observes, pride evident in her voice. The physical therapist says she's almost caught up to her age group. She was always strong, Marcus says, grinning as Lily bounces excitedly. Even in that closet, she had this determination, like she wasn't going to let anything keep her down. Eleanor's expression turns thoughtful. She's like her mother that way. Katie had that same resilience. They fall silent, each lost in private reflections until Lily demands attention with an imperious "Mama," followed by a newly acquired "Up." Marcus scoops her into the air, generating peals of delighted laughter. Later, as the afternoon light softens toward evening, Eleanor broaches the subject they've all been avoiding. "Our flight to Seattle is booked for next Wednesday," she says gently. The pediatrician has cleared her for travel, and the specialists in Seattle are ready to continue her care. Reality crashes over Marcus with renewed force. Despite all the preparation, the knowledge that this moment was coming, the pain feels fresh and sharp. "You'll video call the day after you arrive?" he confirms, his voice tight with suppressed emotion. "Absolutely," Eleanor promises. "And we'll be back for Christmas? My treat. Lily needs to know her whole family." Family. The word expands to include all of them now, connected not by blood, but by love for this small girl who has changed all their lives. That night, as Marcus helps Lily stack blocks in the living room, he finds himself storing away memories with conscious intention. The weight of her in his lap, the scent of her hair, the particular pitch of her laugh when the tower tumbles down. Not goodbye memories, he reminds himself, just memories to hold close during the separations between hellos. The Seattle summer wraps the city in gentle warmth as Marcus steps from the airport terminal, scanning the pickup area for a familiar face. His mother follows, carrying a small suitcase and an elaborately wrapped package. A dollhouse Marcus spent weeks building in his woodshop class. "There they are," Loretta says, pointing to a blue sedan pulling up to the curb. Eleanor waves from the driver's seat, but it's the small figure bouncing excitedly in the back that captures Marcus's full attention. Even through the car window, he can see how much Lily has grown in the 6 months since their Christmas visit. The car barely stops before Eleanor is out, enveloping them both in warm hugs. "Welcome to Seattle. How was the flight?" "Long," Marcus answers, his focus still on the back seat, where Lily strains against her car seat straps, her face alight with recognition and joy. "Someone's very excited to see you," Eleanor laughs, opening the rear door. "Marcus," Lily exclaims, her vocabulary now extensive at 18 months. "Marcus here." He reaches in to unbuckle her, his heart swelling as her small arms wrap around his neck in a fierce hug. "Hey, Lily girl," he whispers, using the old nickname that has survived across time and distance. "I missed you so much." the drive to Eleanor's craftsman-style home in a leafy Seattle neighborhood is filled with Lily's chatter, a mix of clear words and enthusiastic babble as she points out familiar landmarks. Park, trees, doggy house. Her language development has accelerated remarkably, the early delays all but erased through therapy and constant, loving interaction. Eleanor's home welcomes them with warmth, bright rooms filled with books, comfortable furniture, and evidence of Lily's presence everywhere. Colorful toys, small shoes by the door, finger paintings proudly displayed on the refrigerator. It's a proper home, exactly what Marcus had hoped for her. Your room is upstairs, first door on the right, Eleanor tells them. Lily insisted on helping me put flowers on the nightstand this morning. Plenty flowers for Marcus, Lily confirms, still clinging to him as if afraid he might disappear if she lets go. The week stretches before them like a gift. 7 full days of Lily's company, of rebuilding in-person connections that video calls maintain but can't fully satisfy. Marcus has planned every day carefully, eager to experience Lily's new world through her eyes. They settle into a comfortable rhythm quickly. Mornings begin with Lily climbing into Marcus's bed for story time. Afternoons are spent exploring parks and beaches. Evenings filled with games and more stories before Lily's bedtime. Through it all, Marcus marvels at her growth, not just physically, but in confidence, in curiosity, in the unique personality emerging more distinctly with each passing month. She asks about you all the time, Eleanor confides one evening as they watch Lily and Loretta building a blanket fort in the living room. After our video calls, she'll tell everyone she meets about my Marcus. The daycare teachers know all about you. Pride and a bittersweet ache mingle in his chest. She seems so happy here. You've done an amazing job with her. We've all done it, Eleanor corrects gently. This is what family looks like sometimes, pieced together from different parts, different places. It's not traditional, but it's real. On their third day, Eleanor suggests a trip to the beach where tide pools form among the rocks at low tide. Lily, dressed in tiny rubber boots and a sun hat, marches ahead of them on the sand. Her confidence in her surroundings evident in every determined step. Careful near the water, Lily, Eleanor calls, but Marcus has already moved to walk beside the toddler, his hand ready to steady her if needed. I show you creatures, Lily announces importantly, leading him to a shallow pool where small hermit crabs scuttle between rocks. Look, Marcus, crab homes. He kneels beside her, matching her wonder at the tiny ecosystem. That's right, Lily girl. They carry their homes on their backs, like turtles. She exclaims, making the connection with delighted pride. Exactly like turtles? You're so smart. She beams at the praise, then grows suddenly serious, her small brow furrowing with thought. You have home too, Marcus? The question catches him, off guard. I do. In New York, remember? You visited at Christmas. She nods, processing this information. Far away home. Yes, it's far from your home now. She considers this geographical challenge with the gravity only a toddler can bring to philosophical questions. You stay here? My home? Marcus feels his throat tighten. I have to go back to New York soon, Lily, for school. Her face falls momentarily, but resilience, that core strength that helped her survive her earliest months, reasserts itself quickly. But come back? Promise? I promise, he says, the vow as solemn as the first one he made to her in that hospital supply closet. I'll always come back to see you. This satisfies her, and she returns her attention to the tide pools, the momentary sadness swept away by the discovery of a vibrant sea star. Later that evening, after Lily has been tucked into bed with 3 stories and countless kisses, the adults gather in Eleanor's kitchen with cups of coffee. The conversation turns to the future, Marcus's college plans, Loretta's promotion at the hospital, Eleanor's decision to reduce her work hours to spend more time with Lily. Have you heard anything about Dr. Holloway? Loretta asks carefully. Keeping her voice low, though Lily sleeps soundly upstairs, Eleanor nods. He completed the court-mandated therapy program and parenting classes. He's been having monthly supervised visits with Lily since March. Marcus looks up in surprise. How does she respond to him? Cautiously at first, Eleanor admits. But better? Recently, he's changed. The arrogance is gone. He talks to her now. Really talks to her, not at her or about her. Plays with her. Last visit, he brought a doctor kit and let her give him a checkup. The image is difficult to reconcile with the clinical, detached man Marcus remembers. Do you think he really loves her? I think he always did, Eleanor says slowly. But grief and fear twisted that love into something harmful. He couldn't separate the doctor trying to cure a condition from the father who should have been loving a child. They fall silent, each contemplating the complexity of human hearts, how love can both heal and harm, depending on how it's expressed. How even brilliant minds can lose their way when emotion overwhelms reason. The final day of their visit arrives too quickly. Marcus spends each moment with heightened awareness, knowing separation approaches again. Lily seems to sense the impending farewell as well, sticking close to his side, frequently climbing into his lap for reassurance. You come back, she says repeatedly, making him renew his promise each time. I'll come back at Thanksgiving, he assures her, and you'll visit New York at Christmas again, and we'll talk on the computer every week, just like always. She nods, satisfied for the moment, then presents him with a crayon drawing, colorful, scribbles that she proudly identifies as Lily and Marcus and Beach. At the airport, the goodbye is tearful, but not despairing. Lily clings to him, burying her face in his neck, but when he finally passes her to Eleanor, she manages a brave smile through her tears. Love you, Marcus, she says clearly, the first time she's articulated those words to him. I love you too, Lily girl, he replies, his own voice thick with emotion. Always have, always will. As the plane lifts into the sky, carrying them back to New York, Marcus watches Seattle recede beneath clouds, thinking about the strange journey that brought them all to this point. A whisper heard through a supply closet door, a baby hidden away from the world, a boy who refused to look away from suffering. His mother's hand covers his own, her eyes understanding as she watches the emotions play across his face. You know. What I think, she says quietly. What? I think some people come into our lives for a reason. Lily needed you then to save her. But maybe you needed her too, to become who you're meant to be. Marcus considers this, thinking of his college plans. Now firmly set on pre-med, of the confidence he's developed, of the sense of purpose that drives him forward. I think you're right. As the plane levels off above the clouds, Marcus opens his phone to the photo gallery filled with images from their week in Seattle. Lily building sandcastles, Lily feeding ducks, Lily asleep against his shoulder after a long day of adventures. In each one, her eyes hold the bright spark of a child who knows she is loved, who trusts the world to be good because the people in her world have proven trustworthy. It is enough, more than enough. A whispered cry for help, answered by a boy brave enough to listen, has blossomed into a family connected not by blood, but by choice, a connection that will endure long after the pain and drama that forged it have faded to distant memory. In Seattle, a little girl falls asleep clutching a stuffed rabbit named Hoppy, dreaming perhaps of tide pools and hermit crabs and the boy who promised to always come back. In New York, that same boy looks toward the future with determination, forever changed by the baby who taught him that sometimes the most important thing in the world is simply to hear a whisper that others ignore.